want to take this opportunity to welcome you to this meeting this morning. On behalf of the government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, I take this opportunity to welcome you all to the Republic of Uganda, which is hosting the ASARECA Agriculture Ministerial Conference. I want to thank, first of all, the founders of ASARECA. These countries, member countries of Africa, come together to really compare their research systems and research agendas. How is our research, agricultural research, help in the changing times? Climatic conditions are changing, food scarcity is also challenging. So, the way we sustain livelihoods, the way we sustain economies must be done so smartly and sustainably. But the driver here is knowledge. Our research agenda, our agricultural research agenda must be driven by, number one, our indigenous knowledge as a country, isn't it? It must be our own agenda, not somebody's agenda. So the research you are doing is not for convincing professors. It is for convincing farmers and helping them to build soil resilience. It is for building our seed systems. It is for fighting disease, both for livestock and crop. It is for farming smart and sustainable. This is what I want to see from ASARECA. This is what I want to see from our research organizations. And I like that it's a very important forum. Do not take it to be a mere NGO, a mere workshop. No, we want to see from ASARECA an innovation from Zambia being used in Uganda, an innovation from Uganda being taken up in Kenya. This is what I would want to see in ASARECA. Research must solve people's problems. And the problems now are enormous. Climate change. Land is no longer allowing horizontal expansion. How do I continue to leverage the traditional organic nature of our soils without having to choke on the cost of fertilizers? The answer comes from the researchers.
ASARECA has been convening since inception in 1994. But this is the first time that the ASARECA Agriculture Ministerial Conference, the AAMC, is convening. So this is indeed historic. Ladies and gentlemen, it is well acknowledged that Africa has 65% of the world's remaining uncultivated arable land. And it has the potential to produce enough food to feed itself and as well feed the rest of the world.
In general, we really support a comprehensive development where we bring policies, strategies, knowledge, and synergies between different organizations. So we work both on content and organizational development. The ASARECA also co-leads one of the EU-funded, the ACP EU Research and Innovation Program, and we are currently developing a couple of new interventions that will start in the near future. So as you can see, it's a lot of work that we do together. We are behind a lot of the developments that are happening. And I think I'd like to pass a message, because I was very intrigued when this morning I was hearing the different delegates committing to settle the fees that they need to give to the organization. And I think this is a very important message I'd like to pass, because for an external partner, we are behind the work that the organization does. We work at country level, but of course it's very important to see your commitment to the work.
What is this ASARECA that we are talking about? Is there anything that it has done over the years ASARECA is an intergovernmental organization which now has got 15 countries, no longer 14. It changed into 15 yesterday. And we work with the national agricultural research systems in all our countries. We are guided by very clear vision and very clear mission. The vision, we want to see a transformed regional agricultural sector that looks at how we improve the livelihoods, how we sustain economic growth, and how inclusive development we are churning out. And we have a clear mandate: move forward and make sure that productivity of all priority crops in the 15 member countries are increased. The commercialization of these commodities is ensured. Competitiveness is also lifted up. So this is what we are mandated to do. We have a clear mandate that we are working with. You can see, Honorable Minister, that we have two major documents. One is the ASARECA Strategy and Resource Framework for 10 years. That runs from 2019 to 2028. And then we have the Medium-Term Operational Plan 1 that runs from 2019 and ends by December this year. So this shows that we are already to start thinking about a new Medium-Term Operational Plan 2024 to 2028, so as to align with the strategy. The work has already begun, and we expect that by August we should have the document. We will share it with you, and you will give us your feedback. We focus on the food systems. We are aware of the Dakar II declaration by the heads of states, by the ministers. We are aware of the country delivery compacts, and all of those are revolving around the food systems services. So we make sure that we support our countries in the delivery of your compacts, which are being supported also by the African Development Bank. We are a great player in those deliveries within the food systems, the food sovereignty, and we make sure that climate change is not left behind. We have very clear strategic function so as to avoid confusion. We, as a regional body, we convene priority regional events, not national. National belongs to the countries, but we bring in the regional aspect. So we convene regional bodies together.
We are lucky that we, the 15 member countries of ASARECA, are rich in biodiversity. So in terms of biodiversity, which is the backbone of resilient food systems, we have all it takes in the 15 member countries. But this is occasioned by quite varied and wide agroecologies. We ought to understand the agroecology surrounding us, because as we innovate to feed into the existing agroecologies. We produce in the existing agroecologies, and we ought to understand these agroecologies. We have diverse culture. The people, the diversity in culture dictate different food systems. You cannot ignore culture, you cannot ignore people diversity in designing a resilient food system. And above all, we ought to remind ourselves that as a sub-region, we are occasioned periodically by disease and pest epidemics. It is common knowledge, although it may not be common, that we surrounding the Lake Victoria, at least every 5 years we are expecting a disease epidemic because of the forces that created Lake Victoria, the downwarping effect that tend to mediate mutations in the pathogen-causing environment.
It's rather shameful that in spite of the immense agricultural potentials we have on the continent, at least 1/4 of the 1.2 billion of our people are still going, hungry, and our children are still suffering from malnutrition. So I welcome the opportunity that, ASARECA can have in ensuring that, in the near future, in the very near future, that, this region and Africa can not just feed itself, but also contribute towards feeding the world.
Ours is to express our appreciation for being a member of this organization. And next time, hopefully, we want to see that small number 7 there, green. Now it's not green yet. We want to see it green, showing that we are the 15th member of ASARECA
for these 3 days. As you are aware, the ASARECA Agriculture Ministerial Conference is a flagship biannual event for the association, which comprises the General Assembly, the Council of Patron Ministers meetings, and the scientific conference. The theme of this meeting is building resilient food systems to feed Africa for generations. This conference has brought together delegations from the 14 ASARECA member countries from the different stakeholders category.
In the years back, we could find a lot of research happening. The extension is doing their own thing. Now everybody was trying to reach different parts, and there was no synergy. Now with the CADAP XP, with the spirit that we're developing, we're trying to ensure that this synergy, we are reaching the clients together, but most importantly, we put the resources, both human, financial, together, because we don't want to see a lot of duplication.
This particular alliance is acting as a vehicle for scaling up technologies, climate smart agriculture technologies, in order to be able to address or mitigate against the challenge of climate change within the member countries. This alliance is also acting as a platform for capacity strengthening of our stakeholders, so that then when we build their capacities, they will then be able to uptake or utilize the various technologies that are being generated, climate smart technologies that are being generated, to be able to mitigate again the impacts of climate change.
In the National Gene Bank, we have this germplasm that we conserve. We have about 6,000 accessions. These are just sample.
So basically, this is UCDA. UCDA is a government agency mandated to oversee all coffee activities in Uganda, both on farm and off farm. Basically, our mission is to increase the quality of production, productivity, consumption, marketing, and value addition.